You know what's crazy? It's been 6 months since the release of the Galaxy S25 Ultra, and I think this might be the safest phone that Samsung has made in years. And I don't mean safe as in boring, I mean safe as in reliable, powerful, and almost impossible to mess up. And it just works every single time. But here's the thing, that kind of scares me, because when a company starts playing it too safe, that's usually the first sign that they're getting comfortable. You know, Apple style comfortable. And with all the biggest upgrades now going to Samsung foldables, it really makes me wonder, is the Ultra just becoming the quote-unquote default option while the real innovation is happening elsewhere? And don't get me wrong, this phone can handle anything. Gaming, camera, battery, AI, it's completely stacked. But is that enough anymore, or is Samsung slowly shifting its attention away from its most loyal users? Well, I've got some thoughts, and if you're thinking about picking this phone up, I'll be sharing some of my honest thoughts on if it's actually worth it for your situation. Now, as you guys know, I always like to start off the video by telling you guys things that I don't like about a phone, since deal breakers vary from person to person, and I don't want you to be 8 minutes into the video and decide that this phone isn't for you. And as someone who tries to get you guys all of the negatives possible, I have to say that the Galaxy S25 Ultra was arguably the most solid phone that I've used this year. Honestly, I tried to find any major problems with it and failed miserably, and the only thing that bothered me a bit was that every once in a while there will be a stutter while I was scrolling, but that's about it. But on a day-to-day basis, it's smooth, it's fast, the animations feel buttery, and even 6 months later, the performance hasn't dipped one bit. Battery life still excellent. I'm easily getting through a full day, sometimes with 20% left, and I'm not babying it. We're talking heavy use, maps, gaming, video calls, editing photos, you know, the works. And build quality, top tier. This thing feels like it could drop off a small building. The matte finish still looks premium, no scratches on the display, buttons still clicky, and everything is intact. It's honestly the kind of quality that you'd expect when you drop $1,200 on a flagship. So yeah, as a phone, it delivers exactly what it promises. You pull it out of your pocket, it works, and it does everything without making a scene, and it's reliable in the best way possible. But here's where things get weird. The longer I used it, the more I realized I never really felt like I upgraded from my S23 Ultra. Like, this is basically the same experience that I had last year and a year before that, just wrapped in a slightly shinier box. And technically, the S23 Ultra and S24 Ultra even has one feature that the S25 Ultra doesn't, and that's the Bluetooth S Pen. As most of you guys know, Samsung removed that, which means that if you're someone who actually uses your S Pen to control your phone while at a distance, you're out of luck. But yeah, that's the issue. Not with the phone itself, but what it represents as a whole. There's nothing really special about it. It's not really pushing any boundaries. It's just safe. Like, if I handed it to someone who's never used a Samsung phone before, they'd probably love it. But for someone like me who's been rocking with the Galaxy Ultras for years, this one feels like more of the same. So if you're coming from an S21 Ultra or even an older Galaxy, yeah, go get the S25 Ultra. It's a blast, and now with that 7-year update promise, it's a pretty smart investment. But if you already own the S23 Ultra, I'd say hold on to it, because right now, Samsung's best phone just doesn't feel like the most ambitious one. This video is brought to you by Abacus AI's Chat LLM. Now, honestly, the Abacus Chat LLM has been a game changer for me. As a content creator, I'm juggling research, script writing, editing, and managing a million tabs, and Chat LLM just makes everything smoother. I use it to compare phones, analyze specs, and even write drafts for videos like this one. And what's wild to me is that it gives me access to over a dozen top AI models, including GPT-4, Claude, Gemini, and even tools for image and video generation all in one place. I've also used it to chat with PDFs, summarize tech documents, and even automate my workflow with AI agents. And when I need to test some Python code or visualize data, it lets me do that right inside the chat. The layout is clean, and I love how it actually lets me organize everything into projects, making life so much easier. It even has a mobile app with voice chat when I'm on the go, plus it's only $10 a month, which blows my mind considering how much you get for this price. So if you're a creator, student, or just someone who loves productivity tools, Chat LLM by Abacus AI is seriously worth checking out. And if you are interested in it, click the link in the description and comment section of today's video. Next up, let's talk design, because the S25 Ultra just doesn't look premium, it feels premium as well. On a day-to-day basis, this thing is a tank, but a very sleek one. It's big, no doubt, and at 6.9 inches, it's not a one-handed phone unless you've got gorilla hands. But when it comes to weight distribution, it's surprisingly balanced. It's around 218 grams, but it doesn't feel top-heavy or awkward in a pocket like older Notes used to. Samsung has switched to a titanium frame this year, which gives it a more rounded, softer infield hand compared to the boxy corners on the S24 Ultra, and I actually prefer this. It's easier to grip and doesn't dig into your palm. Still slippery though, so yeah, get a case. Especially if you're the kind of person who lives dangerously and uses your phone naked. And speaking of real world handling, after 6 months since its release, it's holding up way better than I expected. The Gorilla Armor 2 glass is legit, no major scratches on the screen, and I've definitely tossed this in with bags with keys more than once. Micro scuffs, sure, but nothing that makes you cringe when the light hits it. And when it comes to build quality, I haven't babied it either. This phone's been on trip, in cars, dropped off the couch, and I sat on it a few times, so it's safe to say that it's been through a lot. Now looking at the camera lenses, they're slightly raised, but the new frame makes them less of a scratch magnet. And I'll say this, without a case, the lenses do get dusty, so I found myself wiping them down pretty often. Buttons and speaker placement are exactly where they should be, no learning curve there. The power and volume buttons are clicky, solid, and haven't gotten mushy over time. Stereo speakers are still loud, and I haven't had any weird distortion or rattling, even at max volume. And when it comes to the feel in the pocket, it still feels pretty big and boxy. You feel it especially when you wear slimmer pants, but because the mat is back and the corners are curved now, it slides in sharp and a little bit easier compared to last year's S24 Ultra. So yeah, from a durability standpoint, this thing has been rock solid. Samsung didn't try to reinvent the wheel, they just made it smoother, stronger, and more refined. And honestly, for a phone that's over $1,200, that's exactly what you want. But alright, moving on to battery life, this is where the Galaxy S25 Ultra has really surprised me. Now when I first got it, I was easily hitting around 7.5 to 8 hours of on-screen time. That was with heavy use, gaming, GPS, editing photos, scrolling through social media, shooting video, and just doing everything. But now, 6 months in, I'm averaging around 6.5 to 7 hours of screen on time. So yeah, it's dipped a little bit, but nothing drastic. Honestly, it still outperforms a lot of phones in its price range, and even some newer ones. And the endurance isn't just screen time, it's standby time too. I've left this thing unplugged overnight with the background apps running, and I'll lose maybe 2 to 3%. Samsung did a good job with power optimization in One UI 7 and that Snapdragon 8 Elite chip. It's very efficient, especially when it's idling. And when it comes to charging, it supports 45 watt wired, and yeah, it gets the job done. I can go from 0 to 100% in under an hour, give or take. Not the fastest in the world, but definitely not slow. I usually top it up during lunch or while I'm getting ready in the morning, and it's good to go. Wireless charging maxes out at 15 watts, and that's where things start to feel dated. If you're using a QI charger, it'll get warm and take closer to 90 to 100 minutes to fully charge. And I mean, for a phone that's this powerful, I wish Samsung would have pushed that speed a bit more, or flexing 50 watt wireless tech. And when it comes to heat, this phone does get a little warm while charging, especially if you're using it at the same time. Like if I'm watching YouTube or loading files during a charge, it'll heat up a bit. Nothing dangerous, but enough to feel it. But I will say that the vapor chamber cooling system definitely helps. And when it comes to the past 3 Galaxy phones, they definitely stay cooler than most of the competition. So overall, the S25 Ultra's battery game is solid. Not groundbreaking, but consistent. And honestly, I'll take consistency over flashy numbers any day. So if you're a heavy user, this phone's going to keep up. And if you're a light user, you might stretch it to a day and a half very easily. Now, in terms of performance, the S25 Ultra hasn't really flinched. It's running the Snapdragon 8 Elite chip, and I have to say that this is probably the smoothest chip that I've used in a phone. This thing still flies, apps open instantly, animations stay fluid, and even when I'm bouncing between 10 plus apps, editing a photo, playing music, uploading something in the background, it doesn't skip a beat. And for gaming, of course, this phone is a beast. Call of Duty Mobile, Genshin Impact, and even Asphalt 9, all running at max settings with barely any frame drops. The vapor chamber cooling keeps the temps under control, though it can get warm after about a minute of high intensity gaming. Nothing alarming, but it's noticeable if you're not using a case. Now, I haven't had any app crashes, I've had very few lag, and no weird animation hitches, even after several software updates, and that's rare for Samsung. Usually by the 6-month mark, One UI starts to feel a little heavy, but with One UI 7 and Android 15 under the hood, it's held up surprisingly well. But where it does show its limits is with things like video rendering or AI editing in CapCut or LumaFusion. If I stack too many effects on a 4K timeline and try to export it while multitasking, it starts to throttle a little bit. Not a full meltdown, but enough to know that I've hit an edge. And when compared to other flagships, I say that this goes toe to toe with the 16 Pro Max in daily speed, but the iPhone still has the edge in sustained rendering and high efficiency editing. And it's also safe to say that when it comes to raw performance, Snapdragon and Apple are leading the pack by a mile. So bottom line, the S25 S25 Ultra isn't the absolute fastest phone in the world, but it's fast enough to the point where you'll never really think about performance unless you're actively trying to push it to its limits. And honestly, that's exactly where a flagship should be. Next up, let's talk about the camera, because on paper, 200 megapixels sounds insane, but in real life, it's a bit more nuanced. Most of the time, the phone pixel bends down to 12 megapixel shots by default, which still looks really good. You get sharp detail, great contrast, and that classic Samsung punchy color grading. But sometimes it does lean too hard on processing. Skies can look overblown, and shadows get crushed in low light if you don't tweak the settings properly. Portrait mode is solid, clean edge detection, even with messy hair or glasses. And the 50 megapixel ultra wide helps with group shots and landscapes. And where the S25 Ultra is in a class of its own is with the zoom camera. The 5x telephoto is sharp, detailed, and actually usable. And unlike most phones, when it goes past 30 times, the S25 Ultra still looks really good. Video quality is excellent, up to 8K if you want to go that far, but I usually stick with 4K at 30 frames per second. Stabilization is rock solid, and HDR10 plus footage looks cinematic if you have the display for it. So yeah, the S25 Ultra doesn't have a big sensor for bragging rights. It's versatile, fun to shoot with, and thanks to Galaxy AI, it's becoming more of a creative tool than just a camera. Is it perfect? No. Samsung still loves over processing, but if you know how to shoot around that, it delivers some of the best mobile photos that you can get. Now, One UI on the S25 Ultra brings out Samsung's new Galaxy AI features, and the big question is, does it actually change how I use my phone? Well, in my personal opinion, kind of. But let's start with the flashy stuff. First up, there's the audio eraser. I recorded a video for Shorts, and it scrubs out most of the background noise without killing my voice. It's not studio level clean, but for Instagram or TikTok, it's totally usable. I've used this more than I expected, especially for voiceovers on the go. Then there's the sketch to image, where you can doodle something or scribble a shape, and the AI turns it into a real photo. It's fun, no doubt, and I messed around with it for fun, but unless you're an artist or really into creative workflows, it leans more into cool party trick than daily tool. Browsing assist is genuinely helpful though. It'll summarize a long article, translate it, or pull out key points. And if you're a student or someone who reads a lot of dense web content, this is definitely a time saver. I use this maybe 3 to 4 times a week when I'm scrolling and I don't feel like reading a wall of text. Notice this is also low-key underrated. It can take messy lecture notes or voice memos and format them neatly with bullet points, summaries, and if you're someone who relies on Samsung Notes, this feature alone makes the phone feel smarter. It's kind of one of those you don't know you need it until you have it kind of tools. Now, do I use all of them daily? Not really. Some of it blends into the background, but overall, Galaxy AI isn't just hype. It hasn't changed my life, but it's definitely making certain things faster, cleaner, and a little bit more fun. And as for the core software itself, One UI 7 is very smooth. Like I said before, animations are tight, multitasking is still unmatched, and I haven't really ran into any major bugs, but again, there's still some Samsung bloat. You get 2 of everything, 2 browsers, 2 app stores, 2 calendars, but you can disable most of it, and the system doesn't slow down even with all that running. So after 6 months, here's the bottom line. The S25 Ultra is one of the most well-rounded phones that Samsung has ever made. It's fast, reliable, beautifully built, and packed with just enough AI tricks to feel modern without being overwhelming. But again, it's also safe, maybe a little bit too safe. If you're coming from something like a S21, Note 20, or even an older iPhone, this is a massive upgrade. You'll love the display, the battery life, the camera flexibility, and all the long-term software support that Samsung is promising. But if you already own the S23 Ultra, I'll be honest, this upgrade feels minimal, the performance is solid, but not game-changing, and Galaxy AI, while cool, doesn't fundamentally change the experience for most people. So here's my take. If you want a phone that just works, has insane longevity, and does everything well, get the S25 Ultra. And if you already have last year's model or want something that truly feels new and different, I'd say wait or maybe just look toward the Z Fold lineup and see what Samsung does next. It's not the most exciting phone in the world, but sometimes boring just means dependable. And for a lot of people like myself, that's exactly what we're looking for, and I don't regret it one bit. Peace.